What's going on, my fellow Jedi Padawans? We're talking about a Briarbinds Void Warlock build with a beautiful little synergy for any type of content you want to go into, from Contest of Elders all the way down to GMs, raids, all of that jazz. So let's get into it with the exotic perk, One with the Void. Your Void Souls have a longer duration. They also gain escalating damage and durability as targets are defeated. As you can retrieve your Void Souls by interacting them and redeploying them, we can have about 2, maybe 3, sometimes even 4, depending on how quick you can get everything back. If you're spamming grenade abilities, you are absolutely getting a bunch of defeats, giving us class ability, which we then are just pounding enemies out with. So very fun little build for any type of content. Voidwalker subclass, we are going to be using the beautiful Nova Bomb right here. Cataclysm, very good with the DPS side of things, taking out champions, etc. For us, we're going to be using the Healing Rift, because when we are in this with those Briarbinds and with that Void Soul, we are going to be able to get our grenade energy as well as our melee energy back when we are sitting in that rift, and targets in general are being drained by our Void Soul, which is caused by this child of the old gods right here. So little beautiful combination that we can have. Totally up to you on the jump that you want. Usually I go with our strafe guide, burst control for my PvE realm. Like I said, we got Child of the Old God for our Void Souls right there, as well as Feed the Void, so we can weaken targets as well as get that nice Devour for endgame, as well as get that grenade energy back like I was talking about. So we're getting health and our grenade very quickly with this build, helping us to proc Devour, helping us to spam our grenade and get Child of the Old Gods to proc, and those Briarbinds Exotic gauntlets. Next off, we got Echo of Persistent for our first Void Fragment. Void buffs applied, so for us that Devour is going to have increased duration. Beautiful for end game content, or I guess really any type of content. It'll keep you alive in some sticky situations. Fragment number 2, Echo of Revenants. Our grenade is going to ling longer right here with our vortex, so basically it's just going to sit on the grenade or on the ground a little bit longer, helping us to get more damage to proc, helping us to again get back our class ability for that Child of the Old Gods. Echo of Harvest, defeating weakened targets, create orbs of power and void breaches. Pretty perfect, because we are weakening targets very easily with this build because of all the Void Souls that we are going to be throwing around. So Echo of Harvest procced almost constantly with this build. Echo of Obscurity is our last one. This is more of a situational thing. I wanted that extra 100 in the recovery as well, as you can see down here, so I went with Obscurity because finishers will give us that invisibility. Pretty solid for endgame activities, using it to stay alive, go invisible, get reses, etc., get out of sticky situations. So pretty solid internal feedback loop. A lot of feedback with the weakening, getting our abilities because of that, throwing grenades, getting Devour procced, creating a bunch of orbs of power, and then getting our class ability back again to use for more and more of those Void Souls. Mods and stats that I went with on this bad boy: recovery was number 1, discipline was number 2, so like I said, we can have those grenades up constantly. Recovery, so we can get back as fast as humanly possible. Our rift, as well as the resilience, up to at least 80 for that endgame activity, helping us to stay alive. For me, I went with special ammo finder and heavy ammo finder on this build, just because I wanted as much ammo as humanly possible, just because of the weapons, which you will see why in a second, plus harmonic siphon right here, because I was definitely using my harmonic weapons the most in my heavy, as well as my kinetic weapon, if you will, because it was void. Bolstering detonation, focusing strike, as well as impact induction, causing damage with our powered melee, reduces our grenade, causing damage with our melee gives us our class ability, and causing damage with our grenade gives us class ability. So beautiful for being able to spam our Briarbinds right there with the amount of class ability energy that we're getting. And like I said, Void Souls, we can get easily 2 to 3 out at once, sometimes even 4. Chess piece, totally up to you, depending on the activity you are going going into. You can switch all of this on and off. Again, totally up to the activity that you are going into and the enemies that you are facing. On our boots, we're going to go with Recuperation, Orb of Restoration, Absolution. So all of those orbs of power that we are going to collect are going to help us to get back our abilities. So our class ability, as well as our grenade and melee, as well as Recuperation, helping us in that end game to get back a little bit of health as well. And then when we throw down our Rift, as well as getting everything to proc for this build that we've been talking about, we're going to get all of those orbs of power to come back to us, because we're going to be using those orbs of power not only for what we got on our boots, but for utility kickstart. So when we do throw down our ability and we got that armor charge, we're going to get class ability energy back. So internal feedback loop is absolutely crazy with this build in general, with Bomber of course, so we can get back our grenade faster, helping us to proc bolstering detonation even faster with this build. Our weapons that we are using on this bad boy right here is going to be our Mountaintop Impulse Frenzy on this bad boy for our overload, as well as weakening on those boys because of the Apothecary Satchel. Briar's Love right here, Shoot to Loot Explosive Payload, helping us to get those orbs of power, all the ammo that we're going to be creating, as well as anti-barrier right there for Briar's Love. And then I went with Two-Tailed Fox because with this we're going to get that Void Solar Rockets, and then on top of that, our Arc Rocket that we're getting with the third tail is going to jolt enemies, so we're going to suppress, scorch, and jolt enemies with this rocket. Pretty good little synergy that we're getting, pairing it with the weakening and everything else that we already have on this build. Last but certainly not least, we got ourselves our Baron Apothecary Satchel from the Slayer version. We got ourselves Anti-Barrier Scout, of course, like I was talking about, and Overload Breach Grenade Launcher for our Mountaintop. On top of that, we're going to go with Authorized Melee Mod, just making a little bit cheaper for our mods. Killing Breeze, making us a little bit more mobile when we are getting those rapid defeats. Dealing increased weapon damage to Scorn, definitely nice for some of that end game content, because we do go up Scorn decent amount, especially in that Contest of Elders. Rapid Impacts right there, Grenade Launcher, dealing damage with it consistently, gives us faster reload, so that'll be a very nice for our Mountaintop for sure. Doing those Total Carnage finishers on powerful combatants will help us to have that damage resistant in end game content, helping us to stay alive. Being able to get armor charge by getting rapid defeats while surrounded, pretty nice, because we're going to be up close and personal a decent amount with this build, just because of the ammo, or I should say the enemy density of Tomb of Elders. This gets procced very easily. We're going to go with Concussive Reloader as well, so that Mountaintop, when we do sustain damage, is going to weaken enemies. Pretty solid little combination right there. Curative Orbs, helping us to get more orbs of power, so we can get that utility kickstarter, so we can get our Briarbinds to proc as much as humanly possible. Picking up Void Breaches with this build, which we are creating pretty easily with our Fragments, Aspects, etc. Cause our next slice of Void damage to also weaken with a Pulse, so that can either be our grenade, our melee, our actual Void Soul that we're selling out, or either of our guns that we have that are Void. So a nice little addition because of this artifact. And then picking up Stasis Shards is going to give us class ability. Void Breaches is going to give us melee, just again feeding back into using our class ability as much as possible, spamming our grenade as much as possible, because doing damage with that is going to give us our class ability. And then picking up those orbs as much as possible, we're going to be able to get a bunch of different orbs and refill because of that restoration, everything on our boots, on our arms, on our class ability. It is a wonderful little synergy. Like I said, you can take this into any type of content, whether it is normal strikes, GMs, raids, Contest of Elders, etc. It'll help you stay alive with that Devourer. You will be able to weaken a bunch of different targets. You have Jolting, you have Suppression, you have Scorch because of your exotic rocket, you got Weakening because of Mountaintop. It's literally an endless list, and I absolutely love it. So Warlocks, definitely try this out. Very fun Briarbinds build. Happy holidays once again. We got about a week left until the start of Act 3 with Revenant, so be on the lookout for that. We got a couple more videos coming out for that, and prepping wise, if you will, God rolls to snag before then, and little changes that are coming for the new act. So again, appreciate all you guys for coming back. As always, don't be afraid to like and subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell if you haven't. Helps me out, helps the channel out a bunch. Plus, you guys will get those notifications on builds like this, as well as God roll guides. So appreciate you guys once again. Happy happy holidays, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.